I don't like it. I don't like it here. You wouldn't like it. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it here. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Thing, another round of comic chat, and so we got like a weird week this time. Yeah, yeah. So, um, Dawn of DC, Adventures of Superman, John Kent. So this story sounded very interesting when it was presented. John Kent versus Ultraman, all right? John Kent versus the guy who trapped him in Earth 3 and tortured him for like 8 years, all right? This is the rematch of the century, all right? John getting the closure by facing his abuser, and this devolves into him facing Injustice Superman. It's kind of not really what happens, but anyway, last issue, there's John, Valzad, Red Tornado slash Lois Lane go to this Earth to stop Ultraman from killing more Kal-Els. All right, and what happens? Ultraman kills Valzad and Red Tornado. I guess we're just crapping on Earth 2 in its entirety. All right, and then John fights Ultraman. I'm like, okay, bold to do this in issue 2, but okay, let's see what happens. Maybe it's like a 2-part fight. You know, John loses the first game, comes back in for the third one. Okay. Then John does basically the solar flare. That's what it looks like. And Ultraman gets up and is killed by Injustice Superman. And there we are. Injustice Superman going, you have your mother's eyes. And yeah, this is where we are. We're in the Injustice world. And, you know, I don't dislike the Injustice world. I think I'd rather enjoyed it. But what are we doing here? Outside of the fact that Tom Taylor wrote for Injustice. But anyway, let's get to it. So, while John's recovering, Diana and Clark, well, actually, no, we'll call him Superman. We'll call him, Injustice. We'll just call him Injustice. The Injustice Wonder Woman, who is the worst version of Wonder Woman ever, reminds Injustice Superman, like, you know, he's not your son. All right? His mother died, and he died. All right? No, that's not what happened. It's not what happened. Like, look, this is not your son. All right? Your son, all right, never got to be. All right? So this isn't him. Keep your guard up. All right? So because from an Injustice, paranoid, these are terrible people perspective, they can't trust anybody. All right? And yeah, that's Diana in a nutshell. So anyway, Lex is helping take care of John. John is like, Lex, what are you doing here, Luthor? You want round 2? You want another L, Lex? And he takes him up like, oh, that's right, another Earth. You are not my Lex, who is a garbage person. You're just Lex, who's best friends with this universe's Superman. I'm like, okay. Injustice Lex is weird, but not in a bad way. Just sort of like, it's a good direction to go the more you think about it. But anyway. So, they talk about the solar flare that he did, and, you know, with time and practice, he'll be able to regulate that, how he does that. Oddly enough, that ability was, well, not oddly enough, in New 52, the New 52 Superman had developed that skill, and it depowered him for so long. It was like a whole thing. Like, he was only faster than a speeding bullet and more powerful than a locomotive. It was weird. It was weird. But anyway. John and Injustice Superman, they have a conversation about, you know, exactly what's going on, what's been going on from his perspective and whatnot. And then they find out that, hey, something's going on in Star City. And like, okay, John, he wants to go, but Injustice Superman is like, no, I want you to stay here. Now, this is an interesting thing. Because is Injustice Superman trying to hide the fact that he's a fascist dictator? Or is the fact that this is his son? A version of his son, to be sure, but from someone like Injustice Superman, whose life is defined by losing his wife and unborn child, it makes sense that he's like, you know what, you need to stay here, right? Just to stay here and do that. Now the problem is, as the son of Lois Lane and Clark Kent, he is not going to stay anywhere. So he goes there, and he comes up to Damian and Batman fighting because Damian sided with the regime, aka Injustice Superman, and Batman's like, no, this is a bad idea, not gonna do it. And there's a whole issue there involving the death of Nightwing and the falling out between the two of them. Even the death of Alfred didn't bring them back together. For long, anyway. So, anyway. They fight. John breaks it up. John's like, wow, this is an older Damian. I'm still older than you, though. Weird. And Justice Batman's like, I know who you are. I don't know. I don't know how you got here, but I know who you are. I know what you are. You don't belong here. I'm like, okay. I'm forgetting Justice Batman is like highly capable for no reason. Anyway. So the regime, the fight is interrupted. Batman escapes, which is weird because the Flash is right there, But whatever. So anyway. And Justice Superman gives John the runner exactly what's been going on here, and it's an interesting thing. And this is actually where I think the story does have some interesting merit to it, because they discuss. And Justice Superman brings up the fact, I felt like I should do more. I asked myself, why I didn't do more? And John remembers that's the same question he asked his dad. Like a garbage son. Dad, why don't you do more? And again, this was an interesting question. It was, I think, horribly asked. But I don't think there was a right way to ask that question. It's just that, whatever. Injustice Superman pretty much critiques what was prime Superman's statement. Like, I just didn't feel like it was my place. I didn't feel like I was one of them, which I didn't track as a real reason either, because from an outside, from a reader's perspective, and even the DC universe itself, Superman is more human than any of them. People that know Clark Kent, know that he's Superman, like, no, dude, go ahead, all right? But Injustice Superman, like, no, the world only makes sense if you make it make sense. I've decided to bring an end to all of it. I brought freedom, security, and justice to my new empire. I mean the planet Earth. And that's sort of where we go from there. And so now, John wants to, see what's going on from his own perspective. Like, hey, I don't hear anything bad. All right, like the planet's fine. The climate's getting better. There's no bombs, no war. Yeah, it's kind of cool here. Then he hears something's happening. A baby fell from a balcony. I guess she wanted to be Michael Jackson. John Kent catches it. The lady's figuring out, I won't do it again. I promise. And John realizes she's not looking at him. She's looking at the symbol on his chest. That Superman S. That symbol of hope. She is afraid of it. And that's when John realizes that these people aren't doing this. Like, all this isn't happening because they've realized there's a better way. They've seen a better way. They've been given a better option and they chose to take it. No. They did it out of fear. They fear the symbol of hope. And that's how the comic ends. So, ultimately, as much as I do not like the direction the story has gone, because we've sort of taken away the point of Ultraman, it's not like Brian Michael Bendis cared about it either. It's not like Tom Taylor's any obligation to honor that. I just think it's sort of weird that he couldn't find another reason to send John in the Injustice universe. We just killed Ultraman for no reason. I want to think about it. Issue 3. If Issue 3 is any indication, this was all just about John meeting Injustice Superman. That is not how this book was promoted. This book was promoted with the idea of being John versus Ultraman. Does John really get closure from his whole ordeal with Ultraman? No, he doesn't. He just doesn't. So I don't quite get the point of this. At the same time, there is some interesting dynamics seeing John sort of seeing maybe the worst version of what he wanted his dad to do. Like, why don't you do more? For a guy like Superman to do more would just be him going up to people saying, this is what you're going to do now. All right? He's in Superman's idea, like, and the idea of Batman is like, look, we can help, we can guide, but we don't lead. We don't take the position of rulers or dictators. Like, we don't get to tell people how to live their lives. We can offer them better choices. We can inspire them to make better choices, but that's it. So John, again, is viewing sort of the extreme, horrible version of that. I don't think John ever really gave too much thought of exactly what it means to do more as a superhero. Which, again, I think would be better. And I may even go into that in my eventual replanning of everything from death metal to Dawn of DCU. But anyway, more on that. So anyway, ultimately, I'm gonna give this one. I might see it till the end. Ultimately, I felt like we could have just done this in an actual Injustice storyline and gone from there. We didn't have to drag an Adventures of Superman John Kent book into this. I don't know. Anyway. Next, Batman, issue 135, or the 900th issue of Batman. So we're really cool on this. So this story has been weird. And not weird in a bad way, but just sort of, I like the failsafe story more than I like this. And to be fair, this story does attempt to sort of bring in everything from Zdarsky's beginning run to this one. And the question is where he'll go from this. But anyway. So Darwin Holiday has found out that in the multiverse, every other version of him becomes the Joker. And he's like, oh, the Joker's so cool. I want to be the Joker. And so his entire plan is to create this multiversal gas, which will power up his machine to place himself in the Joker's mind. Ergo, he will become the Joker. And I'm thinking, what kind of person wants to be the Joker? Like, really, only Jokers want to be Joker. And even then, if you go by the White Knight universe, even he's not that happy about it. But anyway. So after losing his hand to the Ghostmaker knockoff here, he's like, all right, let's see what's going on here. All right, so Selina and Jewel are trying to stop the Leatherwings and get the survivors to Athena Tower somewhere safe where the gas won't get them. All right, so that means I got to deal with Darwin Holiday some more. So he goes in. At the same time, Darwin talks to Alexis K, a.k.a. Punchline, a.k.a. Joker's kind of, sort of, not really girlfriend. And he's like, if I become the Joker, I'll be a better boyfriend. Like, that is not how that works. There's never been a universe where Joker is a better boyfriend than anybody, all right? But anyway, Alfred, trying to contact, his wife, Leslie Tompkins, has finally had enough. And decides to, like, you know what? I'm opening Athena Tower. We're bringing the people in here. It's about time we took a stand. And this has been Alfred's story for the most part. Ever since the loss of the Waynes, Thomas, Martha, and Bruce, he's just been sort of there. Middling through. He doesn't stand for anything. There's nothing he takes an interest in. Maybe Leslie, but for the most part, there's not much he's doing with all of that. Well, he just sort of, again, exists. Now, possibly by seeing Bruce, even if it's not his own, is willing to take a stand and take a step forward. It's cool, as even more so as he inspires the other rich people, like, you know what? All of this wealth and status, that doesn't mean anything, all right? It's about time we put it to use, and we're going to get these people in Athena Tower where they'll be safe from the multiversal gas thing by these weird flying Batman monsters. So, by the time Bruce gets there, Darwin Holiday's like, I'm out. It's kind of messed up. But it also helps Bruce get an insight into exactly the kind of person Darwin Holiday is. But anyway, Darwin's machine goes through. He enters into a Joker's mind, and Joker's back like, the hell are you? What is this? This is beta male energy? You are not me. All right? You wish you could be me. You want to be me? No, you're not. You are pathetic. All right? Get out. You looked into the abyss. I turned back and said, you wish. All right? He's like, no, I can't be Joker. He goes back in again. He gets more like, why are you still here? All right? You are pathetic. You cannot be me. All right? It doesn't take a Joker to make a Joker. All right? That means you had a bad day and decided to get therapy like a normal person. All right? No, you're weak. You scrub. Mid. Get out. All right? And your shoes are terrible too, all right? So, Holiday's kind of upset. And as he comes to, he watches his girlfriend get knocked out. Crack. That's, something broke. So, before Bruce can get to him, turns out the multiversal gas is giving him some sort of powers. He's like, you know what, fine, if I can't become Joker, I'll go activate every other Joker. He goes off. It's kind of hilarious and sad. As Bruce is like, you are just really, really sad. So then, he's like, okay, so I gotta find a way to stop him and bring him back here. And, so he's in a mood now. Like, okay, he's got to leave some groundwork for everybody else. So he's like, Jewel, all right. So you and Selena can take care of Gotham City, all right. Use Darwin Holiday's equipment and whatnot. Get Punchline to do something too. Like, she needs a way to reinvent herself. He offers out, hey Alfred, you could, if you want, you can come and help me, like, whatnot. Alfred's like, your Alfred's dead, isn't he? Like, yeah. So nah, look, I got stuff to do here. All right, I'm needed here. Is my hat crooked? That is. Or is my head just crooked? It is crooked. Oh, wow, that is terrible. Oh, that's right. We stopped the video for this. We'll lift it up so it looks less. Oh, there we go. All right. Anyway, back to reality. Alfred goes, nah, I have stuff to do here. This Gotham City needs me. You're not my Batman. You're not my Bruce. And I think it's for the best we remain separate. Also, it's not like Alfred has really been dead in the main continuity. And he's never really been dead. Because we keep seeing other stories with Alfred. So, whatever. So anyway, there's now also a conversation between Bruce and Selena. If you recall, Bruce had a half conversation with Selena where, Bruce finds out she's sleeping with some other dude when they, quote unquote married. And he's like, ugh, all right. So Selena goes like, look, I can't speak for that Selena, but she's thinking like me, she does not really appreciate you being like this really great hero because it feels like you're always silently judging her and whatnot. Still sleeping with another dude. She's like, that doesn't make her feel safe. When she doesn't feel safe, she does this. And Selena, I think this is in a lot of ways. This Selena's going like, you can't be here because you're going to slow me down. You're going to make it harder for me to be me. And maybe that's the real tragedy of Batman and Catwoman. That as much as they do love each other, or want to love each other, they're just too different. The differences are that monumental, and Bruce does make it hard for people to get to be welcomed in. Even love or hate Tom King, in the beginning, he was really trying to create a Bruce Wayne that was willing to be vulnerable, to put himself out there. And to see it sort of fall apart here, I think Bruce is sort of realizing that this marriage can't work. So, Selena kicks him out because she can't have him cramping her style. So now, Bruce goes through the multiverse of Batman. We meet Tim Burton's Michael Keaton Batman. All right, looking nice. And he's looking for the Joker. And it turns out, through this whole holiday, is activating Jokers. All right? Even more so, whether there is a Joker there, if there's a Joker there, he's making them darker. If a Joker's dead, he's brought them back. If there was never a Joker, there's a Joker. And it's kind of insane. We go through the vampire... What was it? DC... Not DC... Was it DC? No, DC... It was DC Vampires. I forget the name of the town. But there was a story where Batman was hunting vampires. And, there's the animated Kevin Conroy, Paul Dini era, where there's a Joker. He's getting worse. There's a nice one with the Arkhamverse Batman who tells us, Joker died. I thought things were fine. But he found his way into my head somehow. I don't quite get it. Maybe it's my own trauma. And I had to deal with that. All right? And it's cost me everything. Right? It's cost my identity, my fortune, all of it. And I'm not gonna lie, if you're anything like me, and like any other Batman, you've had that itch, that voice in back of your head that says you need to kill this man. And you don't. You take the higher road. But guess what? He died, not my fault, and he came back and made things worse. And now I see him here. So if you've got a chance to end this, I'm not saying you should, but I won't blame you. Then he meets the Batman Beyond. Bruce Wayne's like, I got a plan. All right, I know what's going on. Because he's also mentally linked to all the other Batman the same way that Joker's linked to all the Jokers. And he sees universes where the Joker has died one way or another or is gone. And things don't really get that much better for Batman. It's like, hey, city still has to be protected. The only difference is there's no homicidal clown going through. There's still Riddler, Scarecrow, Villain of the Week. Things that automatically get better. And we even see the Cesar Romero Joker go even worse. Like, I'm murdering people now. Like, forget clever jokes and camp. No, I'm putting people in the ground now. And they put him down. Adam West Batman's like, golly gee, chum. I might have to shoot this one. But he's like, so, you seem to be a bad man. Without a belt. Take mine, old friend. I loved it. I loved it. Because that is what Adam West Batman would do. So then even end up in the Dark Knight Returns universe, and there's a comment, and you're like, you know what, you're missing a hand. Let me get you a hand and a suit. Like, what are you? You're looking terrible. And the discussion here is this Batman said, like, I didn't kill the Joker. I was going to, kind of, sort of, but he snapped his own neck. There's a whole discussion about the Dark Knight Returns, whether or not Batman snapped his neck. I think he did. All right. But whatever, this one says, I didn't. He snapped it just to spite. He snapped his own neck. I didn't know people could do whatever. I'm not gonna act like I'm not gonna act a lot of logic is in the DC universe in regards to what the Joker can do anyway. So anyway, he gets a new suit, new hand, goes down for one final round with Damian Holiday, aka Darwin Holiday. Good lord, who's Damian Holiday? Anyway, Darwin Holiday, the man who couldn't be the Joker, and Batman's like, look. So I want to point out how pathetic you are, all right? You could have been anything, a philanthropist, a chemist. You could have made the world so much better. You're legitimately a genius. You found a way to make a multiversal gas that could power machines, let you enter the minds of people across the multiverse. You basically found a way to do George R. R. Martin's perceived time travel theory of throwing your consciousness through time, or a scientific way to approach Kingdom Hearts' time travel, but whatever. Look what you've done. And what have you done? You want to be the Joker. You are now the most pathetic being ever. Someone whose life is so bad, their only option is to be the Joker. And guess what? I done faced at least 100 different Jokers today. There's nothing you can do. Backhands him, brack. I don't think faces are supposed to go brack. But anyway, great scene. Loved it. And now, Batman has a sort of introspective moment because he's only got enough charge to really send one of them back. And what's interesting is Batman sort of wondering, like, if he can still do this. Like, he's not as fast as he used to be, slowing down. And he pointed out before that, Batman always keeps fighting, but can he keep fighting? He's realized he's starting to fall. He's starting to slip. And then he realizes that if Batman starts to slip, it's Robin's job to bring him back. And that's when Tim shows up. Because in the back issues, Tim has been trying to find a way to save Batman, to find Batman. He's got to cross the multiverse, met another version of his mom, where in that version Tim died. So it's really great. And what's interesting is this also a nice parallel to the events after Final Crisis. Everyone else believed Batman was dead. Tim was like, no, he's not dead. Batman's alive. I'll prove it. And now here he goes, finding Batman. And ultimately, that's how the story sort of ends. Although, or is it? As a Zer and R persona takes hold. Not takes hold, but apparently I missed that that image to grab. But anyway, I will do something with it. I will post that image on the Bucket Think Tank Facebook page. Anyway, so this final issue of this story, I guess, is all right. Again, I don't like the overalls. I don't like the story in its entirety, but I felt that ending really was sort of worth it. I think the failsafe story was more interesting, but I think really you have to view the failsafe story and this one as Batman sort of relearning Batman, relearning what it means to be the Cape Crusader, going across, seeing all these different versions of himself who keep fighting the good fight, who it doesn't really get any easier if you kill them. If you kill your enemies, like Gotham City does not really want to get better, but you have to keep fighting. There's that, the idea that you have to keep going. It's also an interesting way to see him reevaluate his sort of life. What's weird is that the Jim Gordon thing, where he's a skeleton, they never explained that. Weird. Seeing him take on a surrogate Robin, his relationship with this Catwoman, that was all interesting. I'm wondering what impact it has on him going forward. Is he going to work with Robin more? Is he going to give Robin more duties? Although Robin's old enough that if he wants to do his own thing, he can. He has. What's he going to say about his relationship with Selina? Is he going to try to have a strong relationship with Commissioner Gordon? Alfred's still dead, so I don't quite know. It's an exciting thing. So it'll be nice to see where that goes. In its own way, Zdarsky did do what I wanted to do for this. That I did for Daredevil. He sort of had the character sort of reconnect with his roots, with what it means to be that character. So that's interesting in itself. I think really the art just didn't wow me, especially after Jorge Jimenez's art for Failsafe. That was really good. This is all right. Um, yeah, yeah, I liked it. A city without Batman, a Gotham without Batman, seems to be a very depressing thing in itself. Ultimately, I'm still looking forward to what Zdarsky's still going to do with this book. And finally, we have a new story, Shazam, with one magic word, Shazam, written by Mark Waid. So yes, Waid is on. I think this is like his second book. So yeah, not counting Lazarus Planet. But anyway, this story is sort of all. This story actually starts off really fun. We see Shazam riding a T-Rex. Turns out this T-Rex is an alien, and they're visiting the planet, drinking tea. And this T-Rex is just a kid, and it's actually just really hilarious in itself. I do think that is sort of what a Shazam book is supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be that serious. Like, dude, I say a magic word and I become an adult. It's not that complicated. We can be silly. All right. Anyway, so this is sort of a reevaluation. Sort of a reintroduction to the world of Billy Batson, to the world of Shazam. His time as, the champion of magic, and what his name stands for. And where he is now in the Rock of Eternity, and how he's using sort of like a combination trophy room, training room, chill spot. It's just Fortress of Solitude. It's his Batcave, effectively. And even his siblings are there. And it turns out he has a new name now, the Captain. They call him the Captain, which is still Captain Shazam doesn't sound like a terrible name, but just Captain. No. Anyway, this came from like a little adventure that they had earlier, so there's that. That's interesting. But anyway, Billy's also trying to find a way to be able to share his powers with his siblings again, and he's not having much luck with it. And turns out, I guess the wizard's plotting with someone else, because after the events of Lazarus Planet, he still hasn't learned to trust Billy. So, I don't know. We just have to stop the wizard at this point, alright? Used to be cool, now he's a dick. Anyway, so this is really about Billy's everyday life. Like, hey, when I'm not Shazam, I'm Billy Batson, going to school. And, the problem with having the wisdom of Solomon is it keeps telling you to eat more vegetables, be more productive. Like, every now and then you gotta turn that off and just be a kid and eat ice cream. They're at the foster home with his foster family. Tawny the Tiger is there. He cooks in exchange for room and board, so that's great. And Billy's got a side hustle. He's a podcaster, and he's Shazam's #1 fan, because of course he is. Brilliant. So he talks about all the stuff Shazam does, the people he helps, and he's feeling pretty good. About where he is, the control he has over his life, the direction it's going. Why wouldn't one feel good? But anyway, they found about an earthquake going through, and Shazam mentioned he doesn't have super hearing or X-ray vision. So, actually, if you watch My Hero Academia, this is actually revealed to be a very bad thing. You can't just go lifting stuff. You got to make sure that you don't cause any other problems. But anyway, he goes through. He helps as many people, just about everybody as possible. There's like no casualties here, and when being congratulated by the media, Billy snaps, calls everyone a bunch of horrible swines, and they're fat, lazy, stupid. It's like when Mel Gibson went on that rant, alright? Or Bill O'Reilly. And he's like, oh, I don't know where that came from, but I know all these cameras just recorded that. So ultimately, Billy Batson is going to have some image problems. Alright, cool. I kind of like it. I want to see where this goes. Ultimately, issue 1 is a nice reintroduction to the character. Certain characters don't need this. Your mainstays, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you don't really have to do that for them. But characters that haven't had a book in a while, or at the very least, if everybody had like a solid book or getting a fresh new coat of paint, #1, you do have to spend time establishing your status quo, letting everyone know what's going on here. You never want to presume that they've read this story where they were just kind of there, or this story where that no one really read, it turns out it didn't sell well. You want your first issue to reintroduce everyone to the character and where they are in the world. Really, this seems to just sort of be kicking off the events of Jeff Johns Shazam that he wrote in preparation for the movie, which does not tie into the movie at all. And by default, Lazarus Planet, and pretty much some other stuff that happened. So in Lazarus Planet, what was it? Clash of the Gods, Death of the Gods, some other story involving Wonder Woman. Shazam lost the powers, Wonder Woman got the powers, then Billy got the powers back, and then Mary got powers from the female pantheon, because of course she did, which to me was stupid. Why not just have her have the same powers of Shazam? It doesn't matter. Whatever. Okay, she's got Shazam. Whatever. It's interesting to figure out what the wizard had planned here. I think it has to do with the 7 deadly sins. So one of the things that Shazam does, the champion of magic, is he guards the 7 deadly sins. All right. So the question is, does Billy know about that here? All right, and is the wizard releasing those to sort of get Billy to give up the powers himself? Who knows? We'll find out. So anyway, with that in mind, this brings me to a close. If you are new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun little algorithm things to make this not seem like a waste of time, or whatever, do what you want. I trust you. And I will catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well. It is still crooked. Do I just suck at wearing a hat? Is it crooked? Is it? No, it's not. Oh, we're in. You saw my eyes. You never saw that. What? Oh, yeah, it's fine. There we go. Peace.